Meet Mr. Sunbeam. He comes all the way from the sun to visit Earth.
Hello, Earth. Just popping in to brighten your day. La 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 la. And now I'll be on my way.
Not so fast, Sunbeam. We're greenhouse gases. You ain't going nowhere.
Oh! Ah! Oh! Ah! Oh! Oh, God, it hurts!
Hey guys, I Saw Bear here, and today I'll be talking about the update 0.16 for the game Foxhole. This update revamps a little bit of logistics, a little bit of resource gathering, and adds in operations to the game. Let's start off at the basics with resources. There are two new buildings, scrap mines and sulfur mines. As the names would indicate, scrap mines produce scrap over time, and sulfur mines produce sulfur. However, both of these mines require fuel as a resource in order to keep these mines up and running. These mines are not meant to be a substitute for players physically scrapping resources themselves. They are instead intended to bolster the available resources to any faction who chooses to invest in them. Next is a big change coming to the communication tools that players have been asking for ages now. Operations. Operations are a new tool that allows players to form groups around specific objectives, and these objectives are player-based. Operations have a dedicated voice and text chat channel for people running a current operation, and operations have a dedicated player list on the HUD. Right-clicking on a name in the player list will bring up a context menu in order to mute players if they are being too chatty. And operations are cross-regional. That means you could all be running or working the same objective in an operation from all the different maps on the world, depending on the needs. For example, if your operation is bring resources and fortified Callahan's boot, all the players around the map as part of that operation for your faction will be able to see that message and work together towards that objective. There's a new voice engine in-game. Vivox is now the main engine used. You can check the patch notes if you want to see their website for details. And there's a separate function key for Operations Group Chat. If you push G by default, you will be able to chat with your operational group. There have also been some text chat improvements. A new tab system has been introduced, although it's currently only available for operations. The devs do hope to bolster it further in the future. Scroll locations will now stay in place even if a new message comes in. Better use of color to differentiate text chat channels. Text chat windows visuals have been updated, so now it's cleaner to tell when it has focus. Some map changes for this update include, actually quite a few. Reach and Trail has been heavily redesigned, Morin County and Umbral Wildwood have also been redesigned. The East Coast regions of the map have now been designed to foster amphibious landing zones, to extend amphibious landings to the eastern seaboard. Water travel between Deadlands, Faranac, and Endless Shore is now available. Mines have been added to the mainlands in the World Conquest region. Terra, Vulpine Watch, and the road between Iron's End and Spine have been moved so that they are farther away from region borders. Refineries have been moved from Thunderfoot to Stray in Umbral Wildwood. CEO Islands has been modified so that it doesn't provide an unfair vantage point. And more natural barriers have been added to region borders to prevent free access to partisans. That doesn't mean they won't exist anymore, it's just a little tougher to get around. And sulfur and scrap fields have changed locations throughout the World Conquest mainland. Some gameplay features and changes include: there was a huge weapon mechanics revamp. There's a new stability system involved. All weapons are now more accurate when you wait for them to stabilize first. This was the case before, however it's been redesigned to emphasize this. Running and gunning is now much less effective than it was before. Sorry guys, you won't be spinning to win this time. Certain weapons now take longer to stabilize after moving than others, and certain weapons take longer to stabilize after firing than others. So these two new factors will contribute to which weapons you take for what operations. Accuracy has been tweaked across all weapons as well, and weapon stability can be visualized when entering the shooting range in the home region. So now you can get reacquainted with all the weapons you love to shoot, which I hope is all of them. And the camera now dynamically moves ahead for the driver of a vehicle, making it easier to avoid obstacles in front. That means you don't need to drag your cursor to the forward-facing side of your vehicle. it will just do that automatically, and you'll be able to see farther ahead in front of you. This does, however, make you vulnerable to attacks from the rear, so try not to get ambushed. Some game balances include tunnel networks no longer decay at all. Scrap fields now spawn 20% more nodes. Tank trap cost has been reduced from 20 down to 15 refined materials. Storm rifles no longer require blueprints to produce. Barrack inventory capacity increased from 12 to 15 slots. The time it takes a completed factory order to move to the public inventory instead of being a private order has been increased from 30 to 45 minutes. The skirmish tech tree now includes the heavy machine gun, and forward bases no longer provide map intel. Other changes include network logic for player activity has been reworked for increased robustness. The reload bug has finally been fixed as a result of this change. Fingers crossed. Mission objectives have been renamed to squad markers to make things less confusing between markers and operational objectives. And moderators will now have a unique name tag color in-game. There were a few actually there was only one bug fix apparently, according to these notes. Light utility vehicle drivers can't retrieve items from a stockpile. That about does it for this update. Thanks for tuning in. I'm super excited to see a lot of these changes come into play, especially the operations. Hopefully, with the new communication tools, this will allow for even more complex operations for players to undergo and undertake against the enemies. If you like what you saw in this video, like and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest Foxhole updates. And as always, good luck, keep your heads down, and stay in your foxholes. Bear out.